Hello. You're watching Movies with Mom. My name is Grant McPherson, and this is my mom, Charlotte Bailey.
Hello.
We're going to be talking to you about a documentary on Netflix called Gaga 5'2". We chose a documentary for different reasons. I chose a documentary because I really enjoy the world in which we live. And I think that science fiction and superhero movies are all wonderful, but I think our own reality sometimes can be just as intriguing and just as fascinating on its own. So we chose a documentary on Netflix specifically so that hopefully after watching and hearing us talk about a documentary that we both enjoyed watching, you'll be maybe curious to check it out as well. And why did you choose a documentary, Mom?
I think that documentaries humanize us and tell us like the backstory behind something that we might not know. So, for example, I knew Lady Gaga, I knew her music, and I knew her for outrageous costumes. She wearing a meat dress to prove a point. So I would just like to know more about the person behind the music and so we'll talk more about that because that's what the documentary showed us, and I thought it was very interesting, and I like her even more after watching the documentary.
So we've both let slip, I think, a little bit our thoughts on the film already, but that's okay.
You're supposed to keep that to the end.
It's okay. We enjoyed it, and I think that's important. Gaga 5'2" follows Lady Gaga as she works on what is her most recent album, Joanne, which came out in 2016, and it follows her as she prepares for her halftime show at Super Bowl 50. The documentary is very personal. It's very intimate. So how do you think it functions as a documentary? How well does it introduce the viewer to her life?
Very well. I think the documentary is produced by Lady Gaga, so she has creative control over what we saw, but I think that she and the film do a good job showing the struggles of a woman in a creative industry and the industry in general and the challenges of it, and also what for me what shines through is her humanity and her love of family. I hope I don't say that 6 more times, but that was one of the really strong messages in the film for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the title of her album, Joanne, is of her late aunt.
It's her late aunt's name.
Yeah, named after her late aunt, who lost her hands to lupus.
Right, so her Aunt Joanne was only 19, I believe, when she passed away, and that was before we had medical treatments for lupus, so that wouldn't be a cure, wouldn't be a treatment today, I don't believe, but that was the wisdom of the time.
And at one point, Lady Gaga and her father are visiting Lady Gaga's grandmother, and Lady Gaga plays the title song, Joanne, for her grandmother. So her grandmother, father, and herself are in the room kind of listening to an early draft of the song. And that stood out to me as one of the emotional high points of the film.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I think, and her grandmother got teary, and they had memorabilia from her aunt spread out on the table, and they were listening to the song, but at the end her grandmother does that stiff upper lip kind of thing that you sort of expect from the Italian grandmother too. So yeah, it was a very touching moment in the film.
One of my favorite parts of the film was Lady Gaga refers to the creative process almost as open heart surgery. And the takeaway that I got was that she was giving everything that she had.
Because she has to crack herself open and pour herself out in order to create something new. Which is, somewhat true for any of us as we embark in a new adventure. You're outside of your comfort zone, you know, if you're going for a new job or something, you know. But I don't think that those of us who aren't performers don't have to go to the extent perhaps that a performer does, or the way that Lady Gaga describes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the takeaways that I eventually had was she gives so much to her fans, hence why her fans love her so much. But the documentary is very personal, and, you know, Lady Gaga struggles with her own physical health throughout the film. Mm-hmm. She has fibromyalgia, and she has a lot of hip pain, and you actually just see her laid out on the couch in tears, and she's visibly shaken, and she looks like she's completely lost control because the pain is so bad, and it's really uncomfortable. And I find myself questioning, like, why am I, like, I'm invested, but I'm also like, I feel like I should turn it off. It was almost too personal at times.
Yeah, it was, that part was hard to watch. I would have believed her that she has that pain without, that she has that physical pain that she has to work through without maybe seeing it quite so graphically. But that was, you know, her choice as the subject and the producer. That was her choice to show all that to us. So it certainly made it memorable, for sure. But she is hardworking, and, you know, I wanted to mention one of the first scenes when she starts the documentary. This documentary was filmed in 2017, so it's before the #MeToo movement. But she opens the documentary with a segment about how hard it is to be a woman in the creative industry, and that all producers, except for Mark, the producer that she works with, don't necessarily let women have creative control or don't believe in women or something. And so she has to work doubly as hard. And so for me, you know, I'm a generation older than Lady Gaga, and I would have hoped that, you know, some of that had been resolved and that women had more equal opportunities. So, but then you hear, you know, her experience, and now we know about the #MeToo movement. So it's, you know, it's my hat's off to her, really, as a person and as a performer. You know, as you said, she worked through the physical pain, but then she also worked through the workplace issues and things like that. So it's constantly, she has this ability to create wonderful music, and all of these obstacles in the way that she pushes through all of the obstacles to bring the music out. I just think that's fabulous.
It's hard to finish watching the movie and not be inspired.
Right.
By the time we get to her Super Bowl halftime prep, the stakes feel really high. She really understands that this is the biggest show that she's ever done. One of my favorite points is she acknowledges that this is the biggest show she's ever done, and she says it's sad in a way, right? Like, you know, the biggest show she'll ever do is about to happen. And someone turns to her and says, you'll be doing stadiums for the rest of your life. And her face is just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying like someone has to go and watch this right away, but for a look into a celebrity's life, to understand how much someone works really hard, like, it's not necessary viewing, but I loved it. And I was already a fan of her music, and now I'm an even bigger fan. So, yeah, I'd recommend it. If you're watching this, then you know probably my mom or I, so you might like it too. Would you recommend it to a friend, Mom?
I would. I mean, I agree. If you're a diehard Lady Gaga fan, you probably already sought it out and watched it. And, you know, if you're familiar with her music, I think it's an interesting way to spend some time. It's also more generically about just sort of really putting yourself out there and giving your all to something, and it's inspiring maybe in that aspect as well. So yeah, I would recommend it.
Fantastic.
We recommend it.
We recommend it. We need like a
No, Siskel
thumbs
and
up.
Ebert already did that. We can't do thumbs up.
Damn it. No, I'm just kidding. You have heard me say worse.
Oh, yes, I have.
So, well, that's it, I guess. I mean, we talked about it. We recommend it. Is there anything else that you want to add, Mom? Any last minute thoughts? Anything that you didn't say about
I
it?
think if any viewers have any suggestions for us on what we could recommend next, feel free to contact us somehow on social media. I think we want to keep reviewing documentaries for a while. I mean, I think that'll be our service for right now, is picking through the documentaries that are available on common streaming media and giving it a go. So you can watch us for 5 minutes, so you know whether to invest an hour and 40 minutes in a documentary.
I like that. We're providing a service. And you're welcome. All right. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Movies with Mom.
Movies
It's
with
being
Mom.
filmed on a Monday, so
Mom.
I doubt it's going to be released on a Monday, but I guess if we're filming, anyways, it doesn't matter.
Just
Monday movies with Mom.
Mom.